Imagine walking across your lawn early in the morning. You get your coffee, you're looking at the grass, the trees, and you probably think the ground beneath you is completely silent.
Right, just dirt.
Yeah, exactly. It's just dirt, right? But to the tiny American robin hopping a few feet away from you, that exact same patch of dirt sounds like a bustling, deafening highway.
Oh, absolutely.
So today, we're entirely dismantling everything you think you know about what might be the most common, everyday backyard bird in North America. Welcome to today's deep dive.
Glad to be here for this one.
We are taking a stack of research on the American robin. Its biology, its habits, its cultural footprint, and we're going to uncover some serious hidden depths. We're talking invisible ecosystems, massive cultural impact, and what might be the absolute truest definition of bravery in the wild. Okay, let's unpack this, because I want to jump straight into this counterintuitive reality.
Yeah, let's do it.
We look at a robin on the lawn, and we just see a bird looking for a snack. But it is actually wielding a literal sensory superpower. It is feeling and hearing the subtle movements of insects hidden deep underground.
What's fascinating here is how quickly that single reality dismantles our deeply human-centric view of the world.
Right.
Because, as humans, we are intensely visual creatures.
Yeah.
If we cannot see something happening to us, it basically doesn't exist.
Out of sight, out of mind.
Exactly. We just assume the world operates on our sensory terms. But this tiny bird is operating in a vastly complex, completely hidden acoustic dimension that is occurring right beneath our shoes.
Wow.
While you were just walking across the lawn thinking about your commute, the robin is tapped into an entirely different frequency of reality.
I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around the physical mechanics of this, though.
Yeah.
Because, if I go outside right now and literally press my ear to the grass, I hear absolutely nothing.
Just the wind.
Yeah, just the wind. So is it really a superpower, or are worms just somehow louder than we think and our ears are just too far away from the ground?
Well, it is absolutely a specialized sensory adaptation, a superpower, if you want to call it that. It comes down to the physics of sound and how different animals process those physical waves.
Okay, physics, got it.
You don't hear anything when you put your ear to the ground because human ears evolved to process acoustic waves traveling through air, but sound actually travels faster and often with more fidelity through dense, solid materials like soil.
Wait, really? So the soil acts like a conductor for the sound?
Precisely. Think about how a stethoscope works. Now, let's look at the earthworm. We think of worms as these smooth, silent little tubes of jelly.
Yeah, basically.
But they actually have tiny, stiff bristles along their bodies called setae. They use these bristles to grip the dirt and push themselves forward.
Oh, I had no idea.
Right. And when an earthworm moves through tightly packed soil, those microscopic bristles are scraping against grains of sand, dirt, and tiny rocks.
Okay, I see where this is going.
To a robin whose auditory system is finely tuned to high-frequency, low-amplitude sounds, that scraping is incredibly loud.
Okay, that makes sense. It's like trying to hear a single finger gently rubbing against a piece of rough fabric from across a noisy, crowded room.
Yeah.
But like you were doing it through a solid brick wall.
That is a great way to put it.
The level of sensitivity required to isolate that specific frequency of a worm's bristles scraping dirt while tuning out the wind, the distant cars, and the rustling leaves, it's just staggering.
It is a phenomenal feat of acoustic filtering.
Yeah.
And it fundamentally shifts our perspective of the bird. We transition from seeing a passive garden visitor to recognizing a highly tuned, exceptionally active predator.
Which completely ruins a childhood myth for me, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
You know, when you watch a robin on the grass, they do that little start and stop run, and then they freeze and tilt their head down toward the ground.
It's very iconic behavior.
I always thought, and I think most people assume, that they were just looking really closely at the dirt, like they were using a magnifying glass or something.
That is a very common misconception. But think about a bird's anatomy. Their eyes are on the sides of their heads.
Right.
They don't have binocular vision facing straight forward like a human predator. So when a robin pauses and tilts its head, it is not pointing its eyes at the ground. It is pointing its auditory canal directly at the soil to maximize the reception of those high-frequency scraping sounds.
No way.
Yeah, they are physically aiming their ears.
That is wild. They're practically functioning like a high-tech subterranean sonar system. So they're essentially sound hunting in the dark earth.
Exactly.
But what's so fascinating to me about this whole profile is the contrast. Because on one hand, you have a creature that is so deeply attuned to absolute silence and these microscopic subterranean vibrations.
Mm-hmm.
But on the other hand, it is simultaneously the loudest, earliest alarm clock we have in nature. Let's talk about the mornings.
Yes, the dawn chorus. The robin is widely recognized as the morning bird for a very specific reason.
Right.
They are almost always the very first bird to start singing, often long before the sun even begins to rise.
But why? I've always wondered this when they wake me up at 4 in the morning. Why sing so early?
It's all about strategy.
Because doing it in the pitch black when it's still freezing outside and no other birds are awake yet, it just seems like a massive waste of energy when they could be sleeping.
Well, it is actually a highly calculated strategy, and it loops right back into the physics of sound we were just talking about.
Oh, really?
Yeah, just like hunting worms requires an understanding of how sound moves through dirt, singing before dawn exploits how sound moves through air.
Okay, lay the physics on me. How does the pre-dawn air help them?
Before the sun comes up, the air is typically cooler and much stiller. There is less wind, fewer thermal updrafts that distort sound waves, and frankly, less ambient noise from other animals or human activity.
Because everyone else is asleep.
Exactly. By singing in the dark, the robin's song carries significantly further and with much clearer fidelity. They are broadcasting their territorial claims and attracting mates at the exact moment when the acoustic channel is the absolute clearest.
So they're essentially grabbing the microphone before anything else is even in the room. They get maximum volume, maximum reach, with zero interference.
Exactly. Being the first to sing means the robin is acting as the vanguard of the morning. It dictates the start of the daily acoustic cycle for the entire ecosystem.
And it dictates our human cycle, too. I mean, we take these things so completely for granted. We hear a bird singing early in the morning, and we just groan and roll over.
Yeah, reaching for the snooze button.
Right. We don't realize we are listening to a calculated acoustic broadcast, taking advantage of thermal air dynamics. But the auditory side isn't even where their biggest impact on human culture lies. We have to talk about the aesthetics here, specifically the eggs.
Yes, the iconic aesthetic legacy of the American robin.
Think about how hard it is to invent a color. We have thousands upon thousands of paint swatches at the hardware store.
Oh, totally.
Corporations spend millions of dollars trying to trademark specific shades of red or yellow. Yet this tiny wild bird produces an egg of a light blue color, so distinct, so vibrant, and so famous that an entire specific color in the human world was just officially named after it. Robin egg blue.
It's universally recognized.
We literally stole it, slapped a label on it, and put it in nurseries and on living room walls.
It is a profound intersection of wild biology and human design. We use robin egg blue to communicate a specific feeling, usually something calm, natural, fresh, or welcoming.
But I want to push back on this a little bit because I know nature doesn't do things just to be pretty for humans. Why on earth would a bird lay bright blue eggs?
It's a fair point.
If you were a small bird trying to protect your babies from snakes, crows, or raccoons, wouldn't you want your eggs to be brown or speckled? Something that blends into the mud and the twigs of the nest?
You would think so, yeah.
Laying a neon blue egg seems like painting a giant bullseye on your nest for every predator in the neighborhood.
It is a brilliant question, and it highlights a major evolutionary trade-off. The color isn't for camouflage. The blue pigment in a robin's eggshell is caused by a pigment called biliverdin, which is deposited on the eggshell as it is being formed inside the mother.
Yeah, okay, biliverdin.
And there are two leading biological theories for why this vibrant blue was evolutionarily selected over brown camouflage.
Okay, what's the first one?
The first is solar protection. The specific shade of robin egg blue is incredibly efficient at filtering out harmful ultraviolet radiation from the sun, which can damage the developing embryo's DNA.
Oh, wow.
But crucially, it still allows enough infrared light, which is heat, to pass through and keep the egg warm when the mother is briefly away from the nest. It is literally a climate-controlled, UV-blocking biological shield.
Wow. So it's essentially high-performance architectural glass engineered by a bird.
That's a perfect way to describe it.
What's the second theory?
The second theory is a bit more behavioral. It involves signaling fitness to the male robin. Producing biliverdin requires a very healthy, well-nourished female.
Makes sense.
So the brighter and bluer the egg, the healthier the female. Studies suggest that when a male robin sees intensely blue eggs in the nest, he recognizes the high biological quality of his mate and is actually provoked to invest significantly more energy into feeding those specific chicks.
That is unbelievable. So the male sees the premium blue color and thinks, well, okay, these are top-tier genetics. I need to work overtime to feed these babies. It's an evolutionary status symbol.
Yeah.
And we humans just walked by saw this complex biological tool used for UV protection and genetic signaling, and said, hey, that would look really cute on a throw pillow.
It really perfectly bridges the gap between natural biology and human cultural appreciation. The biological mechanism to protect a developing bird literally becomes a touchstone of human visual vocabulary.
Right.
We do not experience the robin the way the earthworm does, as a terrifying subterranean predator. We experience it as the rhythm of our morning dawn and the palette of our art and design.
But this is where the profile of this bird takes a massive left turn. Because up until this point, we've painted a picture of a creature that is almost entirely defined by delicacy. You have this bird that is a master of subtle, unseen vibrations, a pioneer of pretty morning songs, and an icon of beautiful, delicate blue design. It sounds so gentle.
It does.
But this delicate image completely shatters when we look at how this bird actually survives in the wild. Here's where it gets really interesting. We have to talk about the sheer violence and the paradox of size.
The contrast here is arguably the most compelling thing about the animal. We have a deep-seated instinctual bias to equate physical size with power and courage.
Exactly. The larger the animal, the tougher it must be. We respect the bear, we respect the eagle, we respect the wolf. We don't respect the tiny songbird.
Right.
But consider what happens when danger approaches the robin's nest. This gentle, singing bird completely drops the act. When a predator, like a massive hawk, a crow, a snake, or even a neighborhood stray cat, comes anywhere near that nest, the robin does not flee. It attacks.
And it's important to understand the mechanics of that attack. We are talking about an animal that weighs roughly 75 to 80 grams.
That is nothing.
That is the weight of about a dozen quarters in your pocket. Throwing itself at a feral cat or a hawk is a calculated, deeply fearless risk.
I just can't fathom the math on that. How does a bird, the weight of pocket, physically engage with an animal that could destroy it with a single swipe of a paw? Are they actually doing damage, or is it just a bluff?
It is a combination of psychological warfare and physical harassment, often referred to as mobbing.
Mobbing.
Yeah. The robin will emit incredibly sharp, piercing alarm calls to summon other robins and even other species of birds to join the fight. Then they execute high-speed dive bombs.
Oh my gosh.
They aim for the predator's eyes and the back of its head. They will physically strike with their beaks and claws. They aren't trying to kill the cat or the hawk. They are trying to make the cost of securing a meal so painfully annoying, disorienting, and relentless that the predator simply gives up and leaves.
It is the ultimate underdog scenario.
Yeah.
You have this shocking juxtaposition. On one side, you have the delicate aesthetics, the beautiful, fragile, light blue eggs. And on the other side, you have a fierce, fearless warrior willing to physically dive bomb a giant.
Exactly.
When the moment demands it, the gentle morning vanguard becomes an absolute fighter.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, that fighting spirit, that refusal to yield to something larger, is directly parallel to the sheer endurance they display during their seasonal migrations.
I'm so glad you brought that up, because we look at these birds hopping on along and we think they just live in our zip code year-round. But the physical trials they put themselves through are staggering.
Truly.
Many of these robins will fly thousands of kilometers to survive the winter and find a safe place to breed.
Let's put that into perspective. Flying thousands of kilometers in harsh, shifting weather conditions is not a casual trip. It is an excruciating physical trial that requires an immense, relentless expenditure of energy.
I can't even imagine.
They have to navigate unfamiliar territories, avoid predators across entire continents, and survive sudden drops in temperature, all while powered by a metabolism housed in a body that fits in the palm of your hand.
It takes immense willpower. You cannot be a fragile creature and migrate across the continent.
Exactly. And this brings us to a really profound philosophical anchor for this entire deep dive. When you analyze a creature that can fight off a hawk and fly across a continent despite weighing less than an apple, it completely redefines what strength looks like in the natural world.
So true.
Physical size is just an illusion of dominance. Real strength is not recognized by size, but by courage.
Strength is not recognized by size, but by courage. That is just such a powerful way to frame it. Audacity. This tiny bird has the absolute audacity to take on giants and cross oceans of air just to survive.
It is the ultimate survival mechanism. Whether it is fighting off a predator at the nest or flying thousands of miles to survive the cold, the robin's true power is its unwavering audacity to protect its own, regardless of its physical dimensions.
It really brings this entire conversation full circle. We started today by talking about how incredibly easy it is to look at a lawn, see a common bird, and just categorize it as background scenery.
To dismiss it as completely ordinary.
Exactly. But look at the incredible journey we have taken you on today just by pausing and looking a little closer. We have uncovered that the American robin is far, far more than a typical backyard visitor.
It is a masterclass in hidden complexity.
It really is. It is a highly specialized biological marvel equipped with a subterranean sonar system capable of hunting in a completely invisible acoustic ecosystem beneath the dirt. It is a towering cultural icon that literally named a color that we all instantly recognize, and an evolutionary genius that uses blue pigment as a high-tech shield and a genetic billboard.
Yes.
It is the literal voice of the morning dictating the auditory start of the day. And underneath all of those beautiful, delicate traits, it is a fearless, relentless protector that is more than willing to battle giants and cross thousands of kilometers of sky.
It is a perfect distillation of why we must critically examine the world around us. And this is exactly what I want you to carry forward from this deep dive.
Yeah.
Our initial perceptions of the world are almost always incomplete. The next time you walk out your front door and you encounter something seemingly small or common or ordinary in your daily life, whether it's a bird, an insect, or even a plant, I want you to remember the robin.
Such a good takeaway.
Recognize that beneath the surface of the ordinary, there is likely a hidden reservoir of immense strength, profound biological complexity, and intricate connection just waiting to be understood if we simply take the time to pay attention.
It changes everything about how you walk through the world. Suddenly the mundane is full of magic. And so, we will leave you with one final lingering idea to mull over as you go about the rest of your day. Think about that lawn again. If a bird this incredibly small can tune into the hidden, subtle friction of the earth beneath our feet, and if it can boldly face down absolute giants without a second thought, well, what other quiet, hidden strengths might be operating all around us in the natural world right now, just waiting for us to stop and listen?